When detectives have exhausted all resources to keep an investigation moving forward, it becomes a cold case.
And right now, the Battle Creek Police Department has about 60 of them on file. Some unsolved murders go back more than 50 years.
News Channel 3's Sam Neff investigates how modern technology has the department on the brink of solving a 30-year-old murder cold case.
Stacks of binders detailing unsolved murders going all the way back to 1968 fill a small room in the Battle Creek Police Department. The department rates their solvability. A 1, not very promising, but Detective Scott Marshall approaches every case with a mindset that he's going to solve it.
I take it extremely serious because I know that I'm the only person that can actually help give that voice.
Marshall scours through interviews, evidence, anything that may point him in the right direction. He tries to stay away from previous working theories, taking a fresh look as if the case had just come in.
It does take its toll on investigators. I'm constantly thinking about that case. Even if I don't necessarily have my notes in front of me, it's something I can't just leave at work. When you do take it personal, that's the drive that keeps you going when you have these roadblocks that come to it.
In the case of Gail Barris, Marshall has had to overcome a lot of roadblocks.
The last place anyone saw Gail Barris was at this Speed's Coffee in 1988. Witnesses told police she was here with a man. Detective Marshall says he believes that man killed Barris, and now, 31 years later, he thinks he knows who it was.
Officers found Barris stabbed to death and sexually assaulted. In '88, police developed a suspect who died in the course of the investigation and was later ruled out. There was a second person of interest, but not enough information to push that angle at the time.
The case essentially had gone cold at that point in time.
Today, DNA testing is far more advanced, as is the accessibility of information. Marshall reopened the case in 2018, and that person of interest started to become the main suspect. The only problem, he died in Texas 10 years ago. So Marshall went down to Texas with a warrant to dig up his bones and get a DNA sample.
Now we're just waiting to hear back from the FBI lab to go ahead and say whether or not this person's going to be a match.
While he waits for what he hopes is good news on this 30-year-old cold case, the mother of the victim of one of Marshall's more recent cases is hoping and praying this one doesn't go cold.
We're coming up on 2 years and someone else is still walking the streets and living their life. And my family and myself, we're not. And my life has stopped.
Police found Joseph Bowser shot and killed, left behind an apartment building in March 2018. Bowser was an engineering student at WMU, a kind-hearted young man, says his mom, Tracy Cummings.
Why hasn't it been solved? Why hasn't someone come forward? Someone knows something.
Cummings says her family hears things, and when it does, brings the information to Marshall.
Do you guys feel like you have a good idea of who is responsible, and now it's just being able to prove it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the persons of interest we've developed, we're pretty confident on. Now it comes back to making sure that we have all of our information, all of our I's dotted, T's crossed.
I think I have a pretty good idea of who did this to my child, but until that person is walking in shackles, going to jail to serve their time, it doesn't matter. I need that.
The reason so many cases go unsolved, Marshall says, a lack of cooperation from people with information. For Bowser's case and others, he asks those people come forward and wants people who think they got away with crimes to know those cases are never closed. In Battle Creek, Sam Neff, News Channel 3.